Well, hello YouTube. Welcome back to the Bison Workshop. I'm Bob. And today I thought I'd do a little chat video of maybe doing some updating on what's going on with the Bison Workshop and what we've been doing for the last couple of days. And I think it's been like 5 days since my last video on the drive shaft. And I've been kicking a bunch of stuff around on t-shirts. I'm wanting to try to get some t-shirts made up, but the problem with buying the t-shirts is they want me to buy so many of them, and I'm not going to pay $700 for 40 t-shirts. So I did get one made up, and you'll be looking for that soon. I'll be wearing it. I've got 2 of them, and my buddy Aaron over in Canada, we was talking about them while I was actually going through the process of ordering one through Custom Ink. Them shirts, I paid $26 and some odd cents for mine, and $28 and something for Aaron. Aaron paid for his and just sent me the money for it. But he's over in Canada, so it's a little different for price range. It's like $2 more in Canada. It's just basically a black t-shirt with my logo right here. So this will be the logo, the one behind me here on my breaker box. And we're going to try to get something like that going, and maybe even a coffee mug in the future. I'd like to have me a coffee mug for when I go doing videos. I still like my Trump coffee. And while I've got a chance, congratulations Trump for your victory. I'm proud to see that the American people have not failed you yet. So keep up the good work, Trump. Anyway, I've been working on the four-wheeler that Jim gave me, and yesterday we had to adjust the valves, the intake valve and the exhaust valve, and I'm going to tell you, the job is easy, but Yamaha screwed up. When they put screws in to hold them plates on for the exhaust and the intake cover plate, on the intake it's got 2 Allen head cap screws. Well, the ones on the intake side came off pretty easy, and then we got on to the exhaust side. Now normally you wouldn't have to take the fenders off or the rack or anything like that, but there's 3 screws on it, and they're all cap screws, cap Allen screws, and we got the first one we got to was the bottom one, and it wouldn't come out. It was tighter than a bull's ass during fly time. So we fumbled with that thing for probably about 2 hours trying to get that screw out. Finally did get it out, but I did replace them screws with some of the screws that was on the 4x4, 2000 4x4, and we made them hex head, 10mm hex heads. Some of them are 8mm. I think I put 8mm on one cap and 10mm hex heads on the exhaust. So we've got a few more screws that I want to replace. I want to get rid of all them Allen head cap screws. We did get it running good. We put the original carburetor back on it. The story behind that carburetor is this. I went and ordered this carburetor on eBay, and don't fool yourself. New doesn't mean it works right. I have that habit, a bad habit of thinking that when it's brand new, it should work brand new and work right. Wrong. This is a Chinese built one. I think I paid like 27 bucks for it. Brand new carburetor. I paid $37 for the carburetor rebuild kit that had a deformed gasket in it for the bowl. So I ended up taking that back, and while I was thinking about it, I asked my cousin to check on eBay and see how much it'd be for a new carburetor. Well, he says, you're not going to believe it, but they're only 27 bucks. I said, well, that's a no-brainer. Go ahead and get it. Bad move. So I got it, put it on. It ran the very first time we started it up. It run like crap. It wouldn't stay idling. It was backfiring. It was acting stupid. Well, it was getting late, so we covered up the four-wheeler, and then it started raining. And it rained for 5 days straight. So I didn't get to touch it until the 6th day. So I fumbled with this thing, or worked with it for a whole day. Wasted a whole day on this carburetor. It would not start. All we did the day before, which was like a week ahead of time, was shut it off, shut the fuel off, covered it up, and then when I went back to go start it up, it wouldn't start. Well, it would act like it wanted to start when you choked it. But when you choked it, it dumped carburetor, or dumped gas into the breather box. So, because I held my hand over it while I was choking it, and it had a lot of pull to my hand, pulling my fingers into it, but it would act like it wanted to kick over, and it just wouldn't start. So finally I decided, alright, let me just clean the original carburetor and put a new gasket on it and put it back on. Thing fired right up. But it backfired through the backside of the carburetor, and when you shut it off, it would backfire out of the exhaust. Well, I went ahead and decided to adjust the valves, and we got that done. And then this carburetor here, on the bottom you have normally a adjustment screw for your air mixture, air and gas, air and fuel mixture, and on this one it's missing. They got a plug in it. Well, that's a moron move. You got to have a way to adjust it, and so the body on this thing is worthless. I was going to get a refund for it, but I decided that the parts on this was worth more than the carburetor itself. These carburetors are hard to get parts for. That Big Bear is hard to find parts for it. So just the float pin that holds the float in that it hinges on, just that is not even available. So it was within my best interest to just go ahead and keep this one for parts. But heed my warning. Do not buy these cheap $27 carburetors and think that it's going to work. It's not. They're junk. It might start it the first time, but don't let it set, because it ain't going to start again. So, you know, I had a missing screw on one of mine for the cap here, so that's a screw that probably never going to be able to find separately. So I've got two of them here just in case I have to replace one with another carburetor. So let's put that down. And then what we'll do is take you around the shop here and show you some of the stuff that I've got going on right now. So what we've done is taken the rear end out of the 4x4, the 2000 4x4. and we've got it apart. This piece hasn't been cleaned yet. I'm working on this piece, and I'm having a real hard time getting this stuff off down in these little holes. So I've been taking the Dremel tool with the little wire wheel and going down in here and trying to get all this stuff out of here. And I don't think I'm ever going to get all that out of there, but it's going to at least look halfway decent. This is the ring gear, and this here was all rusted up in here. All this right here looked exactly like that right there. So we're doing cleanup, and all that is just dirt and grime. So get a rag here. So then we've got the hubs that I've cleaned up and repainted, and then I've got the backing plate for the brakes. We got that cleaned up and ready to go on. And this here looked exactly like, well, looked just like this right here. That stuff, I don't know what it is, but it just does not want to come off. It's nasty, terrible. So I'm hoping this is going to be a whole lot easier to clean up than this piece. So we're just cleaning all this stuff up. Now this here is going to look just like those right there once I'm done. We got the axle out of it right here, and it just needs cleaned up. The gears are good, and we're just going to clean it up, wire wheel it, and put it back in. We got to take the plate off of mine right now, the one that Jim gave me, and use it. This one's all bent up, and I don't like bent up stuff, so we're just going to take this one and straighten it the best we can once we get the other one off to see how it looks or what shape it is, and try to match it up by bending this straight again. But I'm not going to use this one. I'm going to use the original one that's on the one that Jim gave me. Alright, and then we're wire wheeling all these nuts and bolts and pins and stuff. So we've wire wheeled all those to make them look new again, and they look pretty good. So this is what they used to look like. These are nasty, and I just use that trusty grinder right there with the wire wheel. And I need to get me another one of these. The pins their needles are starting to fly out of it, and usually when they start flying out, that means that it's about ready to go bad. So if anybody's got an extra one of these, let me know. We'll make a deal. And then we've got the brakes that came out of the 2000 Big Bear, and they look new. So we're going to reuse these brakes. And then there is the hub cover, or the drum cover, and then there's the drum, and there's the oil fill. Now the reason that I'm doing this is because the rear end that's in the one I got from Jim, and I forgot about that until just now. The main reason I'm doing this is because the hole for the fill on the one I got from Jim is right here. The threads in this part right here where the fill plug is, half of the first 4 or 5 threads are missing. Well, that's about all you have on this plug, is about that many threads. So I checked this rear end. It was in the 2000, and it's immaculate, as you just seen. So we are trying to clean this one up so that my fill plug isn't stripped out. Right now the one that's on it is stripped out, and I've got it down to where about a quarter of a thread is actually holding it, and it's still not tight enough because now it's still leaking or throwing oil up out of it around the threads. So that's the main reason that I'm doing this, is to take this rear out of the 2000 and put it in the 2002. And then the 2002 rear end I will take out and probably end up making a new fill plug, but the new fill plug will be twice as long, simply because then I can take and drill out the first 5 threads that are stripped, and this here will go down and actually hit the next 5 or 6 threads, because there's that, it's probably, well, looks like it's about 3/4 of an inch deep, so we have that many more threads that we can use. So I'll just have to make a new one of these and find me a tap and die for this size plug, and just turn one using, well, I don't see it here. I've got some hex stock here somewhere. I can't put my eye on it right now, but I've got some hex stock that I think is that size, and we might be able to make a new plug that's longer so that it will go down and connect with the next 5 threads. We will walk out here, and let me get my jacket on, and then we'll go out and show you the 4x4. It looks poor. The reason I decided to part it out is simply because it just had too many issues. I had already put too much in it to begin with, and I was not planning on putting any more in it. I thought I had everything I needed to do it, but then I got to looking. The choke cable was broken half, and part of it was missing, and there was a bunch of other stuff that was broke and missing, and I just decided that I was going to part it out. So let's walk out here and see. Now be careful, Precious is out here. Don't say nothing wrong, because she'll hurt you. Look at her. Hey, Precious. What are you doing, Precious? Oh, what do you got there? Where did that come from? Look at here. She's got some deer hide from somewhere. I don't know where she got that from. Where'd you get that from? Alright, let me uncover this thing. Oh, and by the way, this tarp is compliments of AJ. So now we've got the rear end out of this. And look how poor that poor thing looks. So we're going to try to save a lot of stuff out of this four-wheeler. I'm going to take the wiring harness out. None of the plugs are broke off except for the rear, for the tail light. But it's got the plugs that are still intact on the harness, and everything's still intact. And I'm gonna clean it up, retape it, put it back to factory specs, and we're probably gonna sell the harness, the frame. I got a little bit of work to do up there to straighten all that stuff up there, and we're gonna fix this up and clean it up and sell the frame. The motor we're probably going to sell without the starter and the intake for the carburetor, we're not getting rid of it because those go bad, and I'm going to keep everything that has wear or cracks or anything like that, like hoses, you know, just stuff like that, like boots. We'll sell this part down here separately, and just whatever we can sell, we'll sell and try to recoup some of the money that I've got into this one that we're ended up stripping. This part here, the hand pull crank, all the guts are missing out of it. I would have had to have got that. I would have had to have gotten the choke, which is broke off right here. It's supposed to have more than that. It goes down to the carburetor and it's missing. It's just too much that has to be done to get it back up and going. So we're just going to use it for parts and strip it out and sell what we can and keep what we need. The wheels, I'm probably going to sell them too. The wheels and tires. Of course, the front tires, they're a little dry rotted here, as you can see. They're not all that great. But the back ones I just got, and they've got some pretty decent meat on them. They're not dry rotted. And I didn't want to make a body for it. I was going to build a body for it, and I was going to use what was supposed to have been used for my bumper. I'm going to take the tread aluminum here. These here were the steps for the bed, that bed that I took off the other truck that I used to turn that into a dually. So I want to use these to put corner caps on my bumper that I built, to wrap around right there to go down to finish that out so it don't look so bad, and maybe use some of the other the leftover tread aluminum to maybe do some designs somewhere. Don't she look good? So we might do a video where I'm going to take a ride on this bad boy. May even be today, who knows. It's a nice pretty day, a little chilly, but let me uncover this and we'll show you what we've got so far on this four-wheeler. So we've made this plate here that you guys have seen. Now I need to put some put some sticker stuff on the back of that to make it stick a little better. It keeps coming loose there. But we put that on there and a lighter, and it works. And then we put the tread on here just simply because these were broke and I wanted to cover them up and make them a little more sturdy. And we cleaned up the plastic. It still needs some more attention. We used a heat gun to flow it back out, and we didn't do it, all of it, like in these corners here. We got to do some more and buff it some more, but that'll be another day. I'll buff these out and make them look a whole lot better, but it used to look really bad. We took the bumper off of the 4x4 and put on here, and the winch, and we got the winch controller, and I reupholstered the seat by using the existing leather that was on it. All I done was cut it in half, and my sewing is terrible. Some of these lines look pretty good, but right here it's all crooked, so, and the threads are coming loose here. Well, it ain't actually coming loose. It's just from where I had stopped and then started. And got a new battery in it. And we got these tires that was on it when I got it. All these tires have on it before, and the same wheels. And this here, see that right there? This is just for me going up on the hill and back. This here, I can probably, yep, see? I'll show you here what I'm talking about. It still acts like it's threading, but it's not. The threads are flattened out. So there's good threads on down there. So that's why we're changing this rear. The brakes need work on this one, so we just decided to go ahead and rebuild the other one, and we're going to clean up the cables, the threads, and the new rod. We're going to take off the other one and clean it up, and that way all I have to do is just unbolt this one, slide it out, and slide the new one underneath of it. Tail light doesn't work. I can't figure out why. The only switch that I see on this is this switch right here, because this is the wire that goes to that switch. But I don't understand why there's not a switch down here. If anybody has any idea, I would imagine there should be a switch right here that hooks to this spring, so that when you push this pedal down, it pulls that switch. But I don't see any wiring from the harness that would even go to that. So I'm wondering if maybe when you push this, it actually activates this switch too by maybe pulling this cable back to use this switch inside here. I don't know. If anybody's got any information on that, let me know. But I'm going to go get the key, and we'll start this bad boy up and let you hear it. Now, it's cold natured, and it takes a while for it to warm up, but once it warms up, it runs fine. Now we're going to start this bad boy up, choke it, turn it on, neutral. Sounds good. And that's with the original carburetor, and I got you in that sun. It's probably going to shut off because I didn't choke it long enough. I'll tell you what, I'm going to try to figure out a way to mount. I'm going to try to figure out how to mount this camera on here. Why don't we just go ahead and take a ride? So, hold on, I'll get everything ready. I hear something running in the woods over there. Yeah, precious, right there. Anyway, we'll be right back. Alright guys, here's what we got. We got this mount. Now it's probably going to do a lot of shaking. I don't know. We may have to make a new mount. I'm going to make a mount for this, just permanent. So, but this is what we got. We got our blue SJ cam, and we're going to start that up, and we're going to take a ride clear to the top of the mountain. Stay tuned. And there we have your first ride. That's my second ride. So she did really good. I got her a little dirty, but I'm gonna wash her. I got a wash thing right there. So my battery's about ready to go dead. I thought I'd leave you guys with that little bit of ride. Precious got to make sure that I didn't pick up something. Look at that, Precious. She's Precious, alright. She's a mean one. I'm going to try to figure out a better way to mount this camera. Right now it was just doing a lot of shaking. I hope it's not bad for my first ride video. This is what I had. And this here just kept vibrating back and forth. Just my clip-on. So we're going to try to mount this peg somewhere here where it's solid. Maybe make a mount for right here and have it so that it comes up to this. I don't know yet. I don't have a helmet, so a helmet cam would be the best thing to use. But anyway, don't forget to shut the fuel off. Anyway, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. If you want to help the channel out, you can do so with PayPal at bisonworkshop@gmail.com. You guys have a good one. Later.